Well, hello there, Mackie here, and welcome everyone to part two of our US Open preview. Now, if anybody missed part one, we just cover mostly the women of three women that can win, three women that can lose, and three women that is pretty much the underdog, or the dark horses in more cases. Now we're going to focus on the ATP, and let's be honest, it is sadly not even a contest, or a contest, if I wanted to say. Um, this is a Sinner Alcaraz era. We're in the Sinner Alcaraz era, or the Sin Caraz, if people wanted to call it, of course. They have been dominating the tennis scene for like the last several months, maybe years, if you wanted to call it. And this article from like a day ago just showcased how brutally dominant they are, which is why I put them like one and two as a favorite. Let's forget about the Cincinnati Open. Let's pretend it didn't happen. Man in Black, flash, lightning, forget this is happening. That didn't happen. Sinner is good. He is well enough to compete in the U.S. Open. And if we don't get these two in another funnel again, just like we have the epicness in the French Open, which is pretty much going to go down to my favorite matches of all time, no attended, and just like the Wimbledon final in which Sinner actually dominated Alcaraz. If we don't get the rubber match in the U.S. Open final, then I think we'll be very disappointed and we'll be having reasons. And of course, it has to take like somebody other than these two to beat them. Like Djokovic will have to like age himself like 20 years in order to beat him. Um, Cispatas and Sven Shelton have to beat them. Medvedev. It's kind of like there is like Sinner Alcaraz way up there, and then everybody else kind of below. And this article pretty much sums it up. So Yannick Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz are leading a new era of Grand Slam supremacy, having combined to win the past 7 majors, a streak that already ranks among the longest in the Open era. Their run, which began in 2024 Australian Open, now sits fourth on the all-time list for consecutive majors shared by two players. Victory for either at the upcoming U.S. Open would not only extend that streak, but also secure a second consecutive calendar year Grand Slam shutout, ensuring that for the second year running, no other player has lifted a major trophy. That is wild. Now, consistency across all stages has been the hallmark of Sinner Alcaraz's ride. Both men contested major finals on each of the three surfaces. Sinner has captured the past three hardcore majors, while Alcaraz saved three championship points against the Italian in an epic five-set epic to successfully defend his Roland Garros title earlier this year. A month later, Sinner snapped a five-match tour-level losing streak against Alcaraz in the Wimbledon final to earn his first major title on a natural surface. I'm just really happy to be building such a great rivalry against Yannick, like I said earlier this month. Yannick, I think we've done great things in tennis already in such a short period. I just let the people talk about our rivalry or the things that we have done for the tennis in the history books. Now, if you look at the list of the longest streaks consecutive by two players, look at this. It is it is wild. We got the Federer Nadal era. We got Nadal Djokovic and Nadal Djokovic. Pretty much like yeah, the domination between like the three greatest players of all time is just jarring, to be honest. And you got Sinner Alcaraz in there, and you got Bugrera Sampras, Federer Nadal, you can call it that, Djokovic Wawrinka, I don't call it a rivalry, and Federer Nadal. Okay, so you got pretty much the Federer Nadal Djokovic era of tennis, and then you got this outlier. Like, and you got like this outlier with Bugrera Sampras, but you can just say it's fine, but the fact that you're like you know, the top, number four in the all-time win streaks of two players holding major titles. It's just like if you're every tennis fan right now who are not Sinner and Alcaraz fans, and you're just seeing this, you just feel like, what can we do to win one of these? What can we do? It's just mind-boggling. Now, from 05 to 07, Roger Federer and Nadal had won 11 consecutive majors between them before Djokovic broke through with the 2008 Australian Open. That victory marked the beginning of an era where the Big Three share many of the sport's longest streaks, including two nine-major wins by Nadal and Djokovic together between 10 and 12 and 18 and 20. Earlier runs in history have also left their mark. Between 15 and Australian Open and 16 Roland Garros, Djokovic shares six majors with Stan Wawrinka, winning five of them himself. In 1990, Sergei Boroga and Pete Sampras held a six-major streak between them. Not many of these streaks have been defined by contrasts and playing styles. Federer and Nadal's battles became classics for their blend of speed, precision, and endurance. See '08 Wimbledon. While other pairings brought diverse approaches to succeed across multiple surfaces and continents. See 2012 Australian Open Nadal Djokovic. Now, Sinner and Alcaraz, the top two players in the PIF or ATP rankings, are carving their own place in this lineage. Not just about through the numbers, but through the completeness of their games and their ability to adapt to every surface. The Lexus ATP head-to-head rivalry, which Alcaraz leads 9-5, has been defined by tight contact, momentum swings, and sheer moments of brilliance. Their 5-hour, 29-minute final in the Roland Garros was the longest in tournament's history and the second longest final in any major, and it went down as an instant classic. If one of them can lift the trophy in New York, it would underline just how airtight their grip on majors has become. And in another chapter to a run that is already redefining the balance of power in men's tennis. And you can see this. Look at this. 22 and 24 years old. And I can tell you why now. It's not just the French final that was epic enough. There was last year's Beijing ATP 500 final, but that was also epic as well. So you could just make the case that, Sinner Alcaraz has delivered like what, three of the best matches ever, along with the absolute marathon matchup that I had to watch until like almost like 3 a.m. in the morning between these two in like the quarterfinal stage when Alcaraz went on to win this first major, of course, in U.S. Open like about 2 years ago. So they have delivered like every single banger match. A few, and of course you have a few clunkers, of course, in between. But they have delivered. They have absolutely delivered every single time, almost every single time, to the point of like, if we get Sinner Alcaraz in a final, that is going to be the epicness. Now, Sinner saw his Cincinnati title defense come to an end in the third final when he was forced to retire against Alcaraz after just 23 minutes, but he arrives at the U.S. Open with a 31-4 tour level record in 2025, according to the Infosys ATP win-loss index. Now the reigning Ninto NTB Finals champion, Sinner trails Alcaraz 1890 points in PIF ATP Live Race to Turin, and their thrilling battle to year-end number one is a testament to the dominance both established at the top of the game. So there you go. It showcases that these are just two of the best players right now, and everybody else is just second place. Like, look at this. Look at this. It's not even close. Like, you got 1,000 points between these two, and it's gonna be like, the majors is kind of like a 2,000 point buffer, of course. So if Alcaraz were to win it, it could be a close race, of course, and we might see the who will battle the number one come like Turin time when the ATP finals. And look at third place. It's like you got one versus two already in there, and you got third place. It is not even a contest right now. Now I think yes, Yannick and Alcaraz are my two favorites to win. My third favorite is gonna be a really, really hard one. Ah, it's tough. Maybe I'll do Ben Shelton. I think Ben Shelton been fine, but I think he's okay. But maybe I'll go with Sasha Zverev. I had to go with like Sasha Zverev. I had to go like once again like the women's matchup, like the proverbial top three favorites to win. And if you look at the the body of work for this year, and you could just say the body. Well, not saying the overall career. If you look at the body of work, he has not done badly by his standards. Okay, let's just see. Let's just see. Okay. Um. Forget about. Forget about. Forget about the doubles of career. I want to view his activity. I want to just view his body of work to showcase how good he is. Because I think it's important. I think it's important for context is needed. Um, let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, so far, let's focus on the singles. He only have one title so far. Former number two ranked in the world, number three ranked in the world, number three ranked. He lost to Alcaraz in the semifinals, of course, when he went on to win. He beat Shelton, he beat Hachinov, he beat Nakashima and all kind of stuff. Before that, he lost to Hachinov, who lost to Ben Shelton in the ATP Masters 1000 finals, beating Popperin, beating Aralidi on all kind of stuff. One and done against Reinikich. One lost to Medvedev in the finals at Halle in Germany in Graz when Medvedev lost to Bublik after he beat Sinner, of course, in Halle. Stuttgart he lost in the final to Taylor Fritz, and then Roland Garros he lost in the quarterfinals to Djokovic. Then Hamburg he lost to Mueller. Then the ATP Masters Rome he lost to Musetti in the quarterfinals. Then Masters 1000 Clay he lost to Sir Ronaldo. Ben Shelton in the front, won ATP 500 against Ben Shelton. Then the Masters 1000, one and done. Then round of 16 against Arthur Fields. Pretty much a dark horse, of course. Then you got the Masters 1000 and Acapulco, Rio de Janeiro, Buenos Aires, and then went to the finals against Sinner and ultimately lost. Now I have to say that I think Sacha Zverev is a pretty good player. The consistency he has done a couple of finals, a couple of semifinals. He has made to what, a quarterfinals here, a finals there, a couple of semifinals. So he has been pretty much in the up and up in most cases. This year he's 43-16 with only one title. He has done pretty well, although sadly he struggled. He struggled, of course, in that finals again, either semifinals against Alcaraz. The question is that if Sinner and Alcaraz were to lose at any point in the tournament, it might happen. It might happen. Tennis is crazy. Who are my favorites to pick up the slack and probably win the whole thing? Maybe Sacha Vera might do it. Maybe he might do it. But there's other contenders. I can go like Ben Shelton. I can go. I think we can go Ben Shelton right now. I think we go Ben Shelton. I think we can go Ben Shelton right now. Ben Shelton, by the way, just won Toronto, by the way, albeit in dubious circumstances. This is more like, officiating kind of stuff instead of like the win. And if you look at his profile and look at his body of work, and I'm gonna go down the camera here. Maybe I'll just shift the camera. Maybe I'll just shift the camera over here to like get a better look. Okay, there you go. If we look at Ben Shelton right now, he has not. He has not been. He has been pretty good this year. I think he won Toronto. He made some decent runs, of course. By the way, former semifinalist of U.S. Open years back. So he has a pretty much a knack for making deeper runs. And consider that the last American to win was Andy Roddick, 2003. This may be an opportunity for him to probably win it all. Now, unfortunately for Shelton, he kind of ran out of gas against Zverev in the quarterfinals. Trying to go from like winning Toronto, winning Cincinnati, something no one has ever done since Nadal. That's how good Nadal is, winning Cincinnati and Toronto like it's nothing. Or actually Canada, because Toronto and Montreal kind of intersect. But I digress. He beat Achinov, of course, really controversial final in most cases, but he still won. Pretty much a tiebreaker. He went to semifinals with Fokina. He went to the quarterfinals against Sinner, with eventual champion Sinner. He went to the quarterfinal. He went to round 16 in Mallorca, lost to Tien. Then Queens Club one and done. Semifinals against Sacha Zverev. Lost in the Grand Slam to Carlos Alcaraz in round 16. Obvious went on to win the whole thing. Did not do well in the clay portion of the ATP 1000s. Then in Munich, he went to the 500 finals in clay, but lost to Zverev. Then Monte Carlo one and done by David Fokina. So you can say that he made it to the quarterfinals, of course, against Jack Draper, of course. Acapulco round of 16, and then Dallas round of 16. Semifinals in Australian Open when Sinner won. And then round of 16 in Auckland. So, if you look at it, the first half of his year has been like one finals and lost to Zverev. But other than that, nothing too much in terms of wow moments. And then you look at after what happened in the Grand Slam, he has been picking up semifinals, finals against Khachanov, won the whole thing, and then quarterfinals against Sacha Zverev. He's now ranked 6. This is his highest career, by the way, in terms of rank 6. If he does well, he could crack the top 5. He could crack the top 5 behind another player that I want to talk to. Is Taylor Fritz. Last year's oh, I think I miswrote his name. Sorry. So last year, U.S. Open finalist. He is the number one American, the number one ranked American in his prospects. And Ben Shelton is kind of right behind him. Now, I think you can say that Taylor Fritz is having a pretty good year. All things considered. By the way, at the time of recording, he is playing in the Winston-Salem Open, which is an ATP 250 event, but of course, um, it's a kind of like a warm-up tournament before the real matches begin on Sunday. So by the time I'm recording this, it's gonna be like all the players are gonna be playing and all that jazz. So we might see Taylor Fritz coming up soon, getting ready to like trying to see if he can finally win a U.S. Open in front of all these fans. Oh, I think I put him on a news column or something. Let me just try this again. Let me just see if I can get his career. I'll just go profile here. Okay, and let me remind you, everybody, if you like the videos, please like the videos. If you want to subscribe to them, please subscribe. I do some sports stuff, so you may not have to. I can go like random things like football, cricket, NFL, Premier League, if you have to. I think we're gonna keep like the Premier League in mostly intact because it's the biggest league in the world. Because why not? So yeah. Anyways, I hope you're enjoying the content. Now, unfortunately, he lost in a round of 16 to ATP in the Cincinnati. Before that, he went to the semifinals against Ben Shelton. Of course, Ben Shelton won the whole thing. And then in Washington, he went to the quarterfinals against Davina Fokina, but lost. And then he played Alcaraz in pretty much his best match against Alcaraz ever. Like, imagine you played your absolute best tennis against Alcaraz and you can't even win. That is how good these two players have been. You have to play like S tier tennis in order to beat these two. You have to Alcaraz and Sinner may have you need to have like the worst days ever to win, and even then that's gonna be like not enough. It may not be enough. Now, I'm not saying that he's gonna win. Of course, he can do it. He can do it, but that's gonna be rough. He won in Eastbourne, of course. He won against Eastbourne, won and done against Muti, won in Stuttgart. Couple of not so great in the Grand Slams against Roland Garros, lost to Altemeyer. Quarterfinals against Alcaraz in Geneva. Round of 64 loss against Giron in Rome. And then round of 16 loss to Casper Ruud in Madrid. Masters 100 in Messick, in Miami. Messick, who went on to beat Djokovic. We'll get to Djokovic later. Who went on to win the whole thing. Probably the best tournament of his entire career, Messick. ATP Masters 1000 tournament, who lost against Draper in round of 16. Then Delray Beach lost to Fokina again. Then Dallas lost to Shapovalov. Then round of 32, Monfils. Yes, Garrett Monfils, of all people. So that is Taylor Fritz's entire year summarized. And he did well at Wimbledon. But other than that, he did well at Wimbledon. Made it to semifinals against his, in the Masters 1000. But at the same time, he has two titles to his name and 38 wins. But right now, you can see right now that Ben Shelton is kind of coming right now for his number one spot. And the way he's been consistently done it, I think you can say that Taylor Fritz has to like do well in the US Open. Like we all know what he's capable of. He's got the game to do it. He's got the set. He's got the matchup to do it. He can play against dominant opponents. He can just do well, of course. This may be his one and only opportunity. I'm not saying it's one and only opportunity. There's plenty of time. But if Alcaraz and Sinner were to fall off, and consider that there's haven't been an American player won it since 2003, the pressure is so much on Taylor Fritz to win. Well, not, of course, and Ben Shelton too. But I think Taylor Fritz, considering that he was so close to winning last year, his opportunity to trying to win the U.S. Open this year is so high right now. And he may be one of my favorites to win. Now, unfortunately, I have to I'm going to have to break some bad news, guys. I have to be brutally honest about Novak Djokovic. Yeah. So if you may pay attention to Novak Djokovic activity throughout his entire year, and by the way, he is an ATP 1 club, which means he has become successful in all ATP events and won every single ATP Masters 1000 in his career. For the guy who has been dominant in tennis after Djokovic and Nadal and Federer retired, it's amazing. 100 titles, 1,000, almost 1,200 wins, 25 Grand Slam titles. The guy is a legend. Unfortunately, the guy is human after all. So we haven't seen him played in any U.S. tournament since the semifinal loss to Sinner. And I feel like, and he said it in the press conference, and straight up truth. And yes, he did withdraw from Cincinnati, guys. He did withdraw, so not shocker. He said what pretty much every single person who has been playing so much tennis and so much dominance at his peak that his body cannot take it. Like he's 38 years old. He's trying to win a 26th Grand Slam, which makes him the most dominant tennis player of all time. Not even Serena Williams can even match that. Can even pass that number. And it's almost like the same thing with Serena Williams. It's like once you reach 25, once we reach the marker court level, it is going to be hard to even reach one step. Because the same thing that happened to Serena Williams is the same thing that happened to Djokovic. It's that the younger, fresher, more rapidly legged players are going to be dominating you in most stretches. And you may win one or two matches like you did against Demure, you did against Koboli, of course, you did against Dan Evans. You can win most of the matches, of course. But when it comes to like your Sinner and Alcarazes of the world and your young, fresh players, that is where you're going to feel like you don't have any gas left. And I feel like right now, if he were to win one more major, and I know this is going to be pretty brutal to all you Djokovic fans, and I think Djokovic fans have to cover their ears just a little bit, he should retire. What? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Look, listen, the guy is 38 years old. Okay, the guy is 38 years old. He's already in the Hall of Fame by like automatic, of course. He's already the greatest to ever grace the game. But there comes a point like the body is kind of failing most of the time. And when the body is failing him most of the times, sometimes you got to listen to the body. It's not easy, but you got to listen to the body. Your mind is telling you no, but your entire body is literally telling you yes. Like literally telling you yes. And yes, that's an R. Kelly reference. I don't want to go. I don't want to go that far. So, other than the Sinner loss in the Grand Slam, when his body kind of give up and pretty much like he cannot go full gas. Let's look at the others. Yeah, he lost to Sinner again. Absolutely clapped against Sinner in that Grand Slam. So, two Grand Slam matches, two losses to Sinner. Then Geneva, of course, when he won in Geneva against Hookers, of course. Then the Masters 1000 lost to Amaldi. Then the Masters Monte Carlo when he talked to Tabello. Then he went all the way to the finals when he lost to, of all people, Messick. And that was like after a long delay. And Messick absolutely played Djokovic. He absolutely outplayed Djokovic to his mind. So that is not even a surprise even to himself. And then Van der Sloot, he lost in the Wells. Doha did not do much. And then Australian Open lost to Zverev when he retired. And then, of course, quarterfinals with Opeka, not so much. So he played not much tournaments. 26-9 in all the tournaments. Only one title he won. That was a 250 event. And now, of course, he's 38 years old. He doesn't have much time left. And you're seeing, like, Alcaraz and Sinner are dominating the game, and you are just legged right now. Your body is pretty much not the same body that you used to when you're, like, 20 or 19. In fact, he was the former world number one for 14 years. 14 years the last time he reached number one. That goes to show you how tennis has changed over the last couple of years. Now, the only way Djokovic will have to win is that he has to like play some pretty short tennis. His serving, which is going to be the key component in any tennis matchup when you're like not at your best or your legs does not do well. It's like you have to serve well. He has to serve pretty good. He has to serve pretty good in order to beat everybody. And he has to play like shorter points, do drop shots and all that jazz. And you have to make sure that Sinner Alcaraz lose. That's the only way I see Djokovic actually win the title. He has to play like, I'm not saying A plus tennis to win because I think his A plus tennis has kind of left him. He has to play like A minus tennis to win this tournament. And I think he can do it. But I think it's going to be pretty hard for him to win. Okay. So unfortunately I think I accidentally clicked a tab. Unfortunately for Djokovic, I have to say this. This might be his last chance to win a Grand Slam. This may be his last chance to win a Grand Slam. Because right now, I just do not see Alcaraz or Sinner falling off soon. They're in their 20s. They got plenty of time to renew their rivalry and be like having epic matches for like years and years to come. Nadal and Federer are already like in the retirement. And Murray, of course, and Andy Murray, who's becoming his coach, by the way. So they're already like passed off, of course. He's like the last remnants of the great tennis from like the 2008, no, 2006, around that time, or they could call it '03 when Federer beat Sampras around the Wimbledon Wimbledon match. You can say that he's representing the last breed of that era from like the 2000s until today. And right now, he needs to win a Grand Slam. I'm not saying he needs to win a Grand Slam to cement his legacy and all kinds of stuff. His legacy is already cemented forever. But if he were to win a Grand Slam, maybe the U.S. Open this year, maybe another tournament, but if he wins a Grand Slam right now, then I think he's the greatest player of all time. But I don't think he needs to win a Grand Slam to do anything, just like Serena Williams doesn't need to win another Grand Slam to prove she's the best. But I think this is going to be really hard for him to win another Grand Slam. Not with the way Sinner and Alcaraz, or maybe the other youngish players, like your Ben Sheltons and your serve in the world. I don't think he might do it. I don't think he might do it. Okay, so unfortunately, that's just one player that may not win. Another player that I'm pretty much in the you fear for them, in the football analogy of you fear for that guy, you fear for that guy so much, is Stefanos Tsitsipas. Oh, no, no, no. Just like Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak has fallen off completely. Or just like the Greek football team since post 2004. I don't know. Stefanos has he's not doing hot, man. He is not doing hot. For anybody who don't know, before I recorded this, he lost in the Winston-Salem tournament. What? He lost? Yeah. He has lost at Winston-Salem to. Oh wait, he had a bye. Actually, I think he lost a match. I think he lost. Yeah, but he also got it by wild card. And he's coached by his father, by the way. He reunited with his coach by his father. But I think he lost. I think he lost that match. So let me just see if I think he lost. He lost in the Winston. I know I'd say lost so many times, but I need to like clarify it. I need to clarify it. Let's see. So this is his win-loss record, of course, and and that's his activity, of course. Let me just look at the overview, by the way, because right now Stefanos is having he is a pretty good player. We all know he's a great player, but he is pretty much in the new generation that's trying to break through. He's 27 years old. He is 27 years old. He is not doing bad, of course. He won a couple of ATP titles, by the way. He won the Monte Carlo Masters. And of course, he won Dubai. His brother is also playing tennis, of course, which is not bad as well, although he's the most successful of his two brothers. So he's not bad. I think he's capable of making a run. But if you look at the player activity for this year, goodness gracious, it's kind of like your fear for him. So round of 32 lost to Bonzi in Cincinnati, then lost to O'Connell in Canada. You lost to Royer in the in the Grand Slam of Wimbledon when you like I don't know, he's like the semifinalist of last year. Semifinalist of last year to that. Then lost to Mickelson and Haley round of 16. Then lost to Andy and Roland Garros. Then lost to Arthur Fields, the French sensation, in the Rome tournament. Master 1000 lost to Musetti in round of 32. Quarterfinals against Fields before he retires. Then Musetti lost in quarterfinals. Round of 32 to Sebastian Corda. That sucks. And then Holger Rune lost in Indian Wells. Felix Ali-Nazim, he actually won in Dubai. By the way, that was his only tournament win, of course. Then Medvedev lost. Then Rotterdam quarterfinals to Lucic. Then Mickelson in the Australian Open. So you have one ATP 500 title, and that's it. So yeah, it's not looking great. And the record is 20-15, which for his standards is just not good enough. He is literally one of the players that is trying to break through the Djokovic, Nadal, Federer era of tennis, and instead he is now into the Alcaraz Sinner era of tennis. It's grim. It's grim for him. Now, do I believe he make a run? Of course he can make a run, but do I believe he can beat a Sinner and Alcaraz in like 2 weeks? I just don't think so. And couple that with the loss, of course, in the Wisdom Salem tournament. It does not. The jury is not looking great on Sinner on Alcaraz on Cespedes to actually win the tournament. I think he has to make a pretty deep run in order to win. I think he has to make a pretty deep run in order to do well. Now, that's my second person in order. That's my second person that I don't think is going to win. Now to my third person. Who's my third person to win? I think I can say that my third person who I don't think is going to win. I think I'm going to go with Daniel Medvedev. I think I'm going to go with Medvedev, former U.S. Open champion. He is not looking great. He has not looked great. Is it Daniel Medvedev? Yeah, I think Daniel Medvedev. Let me just see if it can pop up. Yeah. Okay. So Daniel Medvedev, he has not looked like himself this year. He has not looked like himself. Now, we know what he's capable of. I mean, trust me, we've seen it from what happened in the U.S. Opens the last couple of years when he has, blown up and do well. I mean, another Cincinnati defeat. He's 29 years old. Like, God almighty, 29 years old. Jesus. I'm 28, mind you. I'm feeling old right now watching these guys toil their way and trying to win tournaments while Sinner and Alcaraz just eat up Grand Slams like it's breakfast. Like, oh my goodness gracious. So let's look at all the chaos. Let's look at all the chaos so far. And right now, we mentioned about the loss. He lost to Walton. Walton. Like you lost you lost to you lost to what? The Adam Walton, number 85 in the world. You come on, man. Well, that's just horrible. Also, you lost to Popperin in the Canada Open. You lost to Motet in Washington. You lost to Bonzi in Wimbledon. You lost to Bublik in the finals, of course. Yes, Bublik, who by the way beat Sinner in that finals. Then you lost in the quarterfinals to Opelka. You lost to Cam Norrie in the Grand Slams in Roland Garros. Then you made to round 16. You lose to Mosetti. Then quarterfinals you lost to Rude in Madrid. Masters 1000 in Monte Carlo you lose to Alexander Demir. And then Jeremy Muirner in the Miami. Then Holger Rune in semifinals in Indian Wells. Then quarterfinals in the Greskpor. Then Doha defeated Alexander when he retired. And then Marseille semifinals Medvedev, Rotterdam Bellucci, and then Australian Open TN in a 5-center. I mean, jeez and Christ. Former world number 1 in 2022 and now down to 13th. 13th. You fear for that guy. You fear for that guy. I don't know if he can win. I just have no good feelings if he can win. Maybe he might be one of those early round exits to like a random guy because he's losing to Adam Walton and Motet, like Correnti Montet and Benjamin Bonzi. Like, I don't know who those guys are, but right now, I just don't have any good feelings about him competing against, like, the top players right now. Hell, I mean, he could lose to Benjamin Shelton for all I know. This is pretty jarring for me to see a player like this not doing well. And you wonder, can he recapture that magic at the Australian Open? I don't know. And I maybe not thinking so. So that is going to be my 2 cents here. Okay. Now, if we look at the rankings, I believe we're going to have 3 players that are considered dark horses to win this tournament. Now, if we look at the rankings, let's see which player that I pretty like to win. And oh, by the way, if you want to know how pretty jolly the Alcaraz Sinner rivalry is, look at this. 5-4 Grand Slams, 1 ATP finals, by the way, facing each other. 12 ATP 1000s. So that means they have 22 titles between these two. In the last, what, 2 years between each other, they accumulate 22 titles. Yeah, it is John. I fear for everybody. I fear for tennis. Tennis is fine though, but I fear for them. Um, which one do I feel like they can make a run? Make a shocking run and make it go all the way. I like Jakob Mesic. By the way, he won in Miami, of course, beating Djokovic. He's number 16 in the world. Capable of making a run. Great serving. No good, no nonsense game. He can make a good run, so that's probably number one. Francis Tiafoe, he is not doing well this year. He is not doing well this year, but he's my dark horse. He's also my dark horse. Rublev is not doing well as well. He is. He has some up. He has some incredible ups, but mostly downs. Mostly downs. I don't think so. Arthur Fields, new kid, 28th in the world. I can say he can do well, but he's a young guy, 21 years old. He can make a decent run, but I'm not saying like he can make like finals or anything. He can make it like round of 16, shocking round of 16, maybe quarterfinals if he do well and play well. Play well. Bublik has that tendency to like win a big matchup like he did in Holland and then lose in Grand Slams. So I don't think so. Uh yeah, so right now, if you put my favorite, maybe Jack Draper could be doing well. I think Jack Draper could do well, but I don't think so. So right now, it is grim. It is sadly grim. It is Yannick and it is Sinner and Alcaraz, my two favorites, and nobody else for that U.S. Open men's title. Do I believe it's inevitable? Yes, it's probably inevitable. But tennis is a funny sport. Crazy things that happen. Crazy, crazy stuff that happened. And as you can see from last year, it took like, it took Alcaraz losing to a random Van der Schlup. Van der Schlup. Yes, he lost to Van der Schlup in last year's finals. And then, of course, Sinner went on to probably win the whole thing. I think Sinner won the whole thing. Let me just check. Yep, it was Sinner winning the whole thing. It was Sinner beating Taylor Fritz in that finals, of course. In a matchup that I think everybody in America really wants Fritz to win to finally break that feeling, but consider that consider everything that like Sinner goes through with the whole WADA situation and doping and all kind of stuff. Not gonna touch on that one, but for everything to go through all that noise and actually win it, it's just amazing. So yeah, tennis is a funny sport, but Alcaraz and Sinner has to like implode from each other, and even then, I just don't feel like it's. If you are betting this whole thing right now, Sinner and Alcaraz could make the finals, and it would be like the easiest money ever. So I believe some crazy thing might happen to tennis, but unless it's a Sinner Alcaraz finals, then I feel like it's going to be like a pretty predictable men's tournament. To be honest, the women's is chaotic. Don't get me wrong, woman is chaotic. Anything can happen. A random person might win. Maybe the 18-year-old from Canada might win the U.S. Open. Maybe clip that, and probably I'll be right in a couple of days. But yeah, this is going to be the Sinner Alcaraz show, and you know what? Consider we see them twice. I will not be mine. I won't mind another final between these two. I won't mind. So that should do it for the men's portion, and that should do it for the previewing of the U.S. Opens. Thank you all for watching and doing all that jazz. Enjoy the U.S. Open, enjoy the tennis, and we will see you next time. Ciao.